Good morning, students. Today's topic is types of cooperative societies. Okay, today we'll discuss the types of cooperative societies. So, first type is consumer cooperative societies. Actually, this type of cooperative societies, some consumers they get together and form this type of society, and these societies are established to protect the interest of consumers and to provide goods of daily use to its members at a minimum price. So actually the middleman has been removed, and the cooperative society directly purchased the goods from the manufacturer, and the members of this society they consume the product, and this way they get the product at a very reasonable price. So this type of when some persons form and start this type of society, that is called a consumer cooperative society. And next is producers or industrial cooperative societies. Actually when some small producers they join together and form this type of society to protect the small producers from the market competition from the large producers. So this type of cooperative society is called producers or industrial cooperative society. So these societies are established to protect the interest of small manufacturers. The society aims to fight against the big capitalists and enhance the bargaining power of small producers. This society consists of the small producers who find it difficult to produce inputs like equipments, raw material, and to sell their outputs. Okay. Next is marketing cooperative societies. So these societies are set up to help the small producers in selling their products. Okay, sometimes the small producers when they manufacture their products, it is difficult for them to sell their products in the market because market competition is already very high. So some producers they join together and form a marketing cooperative society. So its members are the producers who wish to produce a reasonable price for their output. The main purpose of forming these societies is to eliminate middlemen and improve uh, competitive position of its members by securing a favorable market for the product. Okay. Next is farmers cooperative societies. The name itself gives the idea of this cooperative society. So these cooperative societies are formed to protect the interest of farmers. Its members are the farmers who want to jointly carry on farming activities. The main objective of such a society is to produce benefits of large scale farming and increase the productivity. Actually, in our India, the farmers they have small lands, and they are very much difficulties are there to produce crops. So some small farmers they join together and they make the size of their field large. Okay. So in this way they can get the benefit of large fields. Okay. Next is credit cooperative society. Credit cooperative societies are set up to motivate economic condition of their members. Actually when some members they find it difficult to arrange some funds, so credit cooperative societies they help its members by granting loan at very low rate of interest. Okay. Next is cooperative housing societies. So these societies are established to help their members to construct houses at reasonable cost. The members of these societies consist of people who wants residential accommodation at lower cost. So sometimes the members of this society, suppose they are not having their living accommodation, they want to acquire this, and they don't have sufficient fund to purchase the house. So this society has these type of needy persons. I mean, the person must be the member, obviously the cooperative society. So they have their members, and they provide uh, the residential accommodation to its members. The main aim of the society is to solve the housing problems of their members by constructing houses and giving the option of paying in easy installment. So this is the types of cooperative society. Basically there are 6 types of cooperative societies. I am recapitulating it again. Consumers cooperative society, producers cooperative society, marketing cooperative society, farmers cooperative society, credit cooperative society, and cooperative housing societies. Okay, so this is the topic of cooperative society. The next topic is a joint stock company. I'm giving actually the very the meaning of this joint stock company. First of all, you should know what is a joint stock company. So actually, joint stock company is an artificial person created by law having a perpetual succession and separate legal existence and a common seal. Okay. If we see the definition of Indian Companies Act 2013, it defines a company as company means a company incorporated under this act or under any previous company's law. Okay. uh, if you see the definition of Professor Hene, he gives a very good definition about the joint stock company. The joint stock company is a voluntary association. Voluntary association means it is not forced, it is voluntary. Voluntary association of individuals for profit having a capital divided into transferable shares, the ownership of which is the condition of the membership. Okay. Now here we are discussing some features. That is, number one, artificial person. Obviously, company is an artificial person. It why a company is called an artificial person? Because company doesn't have the physical existence. Company doesn't have the body like we are having. Company doesn't have any any company doesn't have any bones, and company doesn't have flesh. Nobody can see the company. Company, the company is invisible. And why company is called a person? Because company can sign the contract, company can purchase the assets in its name, है ना? Means all the things that we do, the company can do all the things as we are doing, है ना? So that's why company is called a person. And why it is called an artificial? Because it is not visible like us. The company is an artificial person created by law. It does not have a physical body of a natural human being. A company is a person, so it can purchase and sell properties, incur debts, borrow and lend money, either enter into contracts, sue and be sued in its own name. But like a natural person, it can't drink, breathe, walk, run, eat, and so on. So that's why it's called an artificial person. Okay. Next is separate legal entity. From the date of its incorporation or registration, a company obtains a separate legal entity. Means company is separate from its owners. Okay. Perpetual succession means company never ends. If a member of the company, he goes insolvent, he dies, or he leaves the company, so the existence of company goes forever. Okay. Formation company, actually the formation of company, the process of forming the company is very lengthy. It is formed under the Companies Act 2013, and it is mandatory for the company to be registered. Okay. Next is separation of ownership and management. The ownership and management means actually the shareholders are the owners of the company, and they elect their board of directors, and board of directors, they elect their managing director, and this group of board of directors, they run the company, they manage the company. So that's why the management and the ownership, these are two different things, they are separate from each other. Okay. And then the liability, actually the liability of members of the company is limited, है ना? So this is limited up to the unpaid value of the shares. We have already discussed so much about the unlimited liability and the limited liability. Okay, then the common seal. Actually, whenever actually a normal human being, he signs the contract, है ना, but company cannot sign. Company, the seal of the company is the signature of that company. The company, being an artificial person, cannot act and sign itself. Therefore, it acts through human beings known as board of directors. All the acts of the company are authorized by a common seal of the company. Okay, then risk bearing. In case of sole proprietorship, all risks have to be borne by the single person, whereas in partnership, risk is divided among the limited partners. In case of company, the risk is shared among numerous shareholders and nobody feels the burden. Okay, so risk is divided among various shareholders. ऐसा नहीं है कि एक दो shareholders होते हैं. There are so many shareholders in every company. So the risk is divided among the shareholders. So the every shareholders bears a less risk. Okay. So this is about the features of the company, and in our next video we'll discuss some merits and demerits of the company. If you have any problems, students, please ask. Thank you.